Good morning, everyone. So this is State of Design Systems in Flutter in 2026. My name is Albert Wolszon. I'm a senior Flutter developer at LeanCode. And today I want to very quickly talk to you about what changed, what's coming, and what if you already have a design system made in Flutter in production. The agenda for today is why design systems still matter, why LLMs make them matter even more, and the three eras of developing design systems in Flutter. And the material way, going from scratch way, and the new raw widgets way. So let's get started. But firstly, what design systems are even for? So, well, the answer changed this year, recently, a little bit. On paper, it's still the same thing. A design system is something that enforces your company, your products to use the same patterns, the same brand, design, and language. There's nothing new here yet. But so essentially, for those paying engineering salaries, it allows your engineers, your designers, to focus on bringing this business value and not focus on creating yet another variant of some button, yet another form field, but the business value, delivering it. And now, in 2026, design systems also help LLMs do this very same thing. So you don't want your agents to reinvent this stuff all over again, burning tokens, burning your prompters, your engineers' time, but to reuse what's already there, what's already complied with your design system, and not increase the code base and make it hard to maintain even more. But how can LLMs actually work with design system? So let's take a look at two examples. First one is Figma Make. You probably know it. You prompted to create some design based on what you have in Figma. And because of the feature called Make It, you can attach basically your design system library, and it will be used for what it generates. So the output no longer looks like some generic auto layout, but genuinely like your product. On the Anthropic side, we have very similar thing, the Claude design. You can also ask it to use your stuff. Okay, but none of these tools are meant for Flutter, so let's focus on Flutter for now. And just for the context, why do I get to talk to you about that? Well, at LeanCode, we've built or helped build design systems for pretty much every scale, starting from smaller startups, going through some hardware companion apps, going through the banking applications used by millions of Poles to even banking apps used by the whole continent. So we pretty much know what hurts and what works. Um, what were the ways of developing design systems in Flutter in the last, let's say, 5 years? So we had two options. The first one was to build on material, use material design components that were already part of the framework and just theme it. The other way was to build your design system from scratch, using just the very primitive stuff from the framework and cover all the layers yourself. So going with the material way, the good story is that it's very well known. Basically, every developer knows it. It's mostly bug-free, very heavily battle-tested. I mean, everyone uses it, so everyone also reports bugs. You're certain to ship things with that. The only real cost you have here is theming. I mean, it's still a material design, not your design system. So some things may be a little bit harder to theme to your liking, but one way or another, sometimes doing some hacks or workarounds, you can get the job done. But then there was the material free update. Maybe you remember this. It came in some new Flutter major version. And it was introducing the material free design into the framework. And the promise was to keep all the old implementation, the material 2, untouched, so that all of your existing applications shouldn't really change in appearance. But that wasn't really the reality. There were many visual regressions or some smaller bugs. So you either had to upgrade to this newer version, but fix all these bugs, invest your testers' time, invest to some QA to find those regressions, or just stay on this legacy version to not have these problems at all for some time, but you would trade the security fixes or some languages features for that. Neither option was fun. The second way is going from scratch. So basically rebuilding all the components for a design system, like covering all the layers, not relying on those already existing components made for other design systems, but rather writing it yourself. It costs much, much more because you not only need just a senior Flutter developer for this, you need an actual expert on Flutter internals, because you're gonna be writing all these internal layers yourself with no framework help really. And by every layer, I mean this. So starting with just painting stuff on the screen, uh, going through gestures, interactive stuff, to accessibility related things that now are more important than even before because of stuff like European Accessibility Act or ADA. Each of these layers, this is a very real project to undertake, and not just some checkbox. But the biggest upside of this going with this approach is that you stay in charge, because you rely not on this visual stuff that's meant for other design system, but only using these primitive stuff like columns, like gesture detectors. You don't rely on framework version basically to how your application looks. And that's a very genuine advantage at scale, because you don't have to worry whether going with the next framework version that's maybe required to ship, to release to stores, or maybe your developers are really craving for these new Dart language features. You can do it more confidently. But there's a new third option emerging, and it changes this trade-off. And it's called raw Flutter widgets. So basically, there's an issue in Flutter's GitHub called add more basic components to the core framework. It's part of the much bigger effort to move the Cupertino and material out of the core framework in Flutter. And the objective here is to add more basic components, these raw widgets. The raw widgets are widgets that have all these behavioral stuff, like these gestures, accessibility, keyboard, everything, but with no opinion on how it looks. So these are your engineers that are responsible for making the components look as you and your design system wants them to look. But the rest is done for you. So taking a look at all these layers once again, like the most important, the most complex stuff is once again the responsibility of the framework and not of you and your engineers, just to have to handle the painting, so implementing the design system in that. You need much less expertise. You don't need, once again, these experts for these more low-level layers, and you have higher confidence because, well, these components came from framework. They were very well tested, and everyone else also probably uses them. So if there are bugs, you would know about them. And here's a speculation. So maybe in the pretty near future, when we take all of these things that I've just covered in one bag, stuff like the Figma with its MCPs or other design tools, when we get the LLMs that can talk to these LLMs and these new raw widgets, it's very probable that pretty soon LLMs will be able to implement our design systems, what the designers are producing for us, for our products, end to end with high confidence for us, for the business owners of it. And going back to Flutter, well, because it's an open source framework, I also think that community will also shift its efforts to making these raw widgets even better, even more battle-tested, and make the library of these raw widgets as wide as possible. But there's still this one elephant in the room. So what if I already committed and I already have some design system used in production, made in Flutter? Well, the good story here is that you don't have to migrate right away. You can just do it gradually, one component by one. There's nothing really that makes you do a big migration. You can just use the capacity that you have at hand and also use the new approach for the new widgets. So there's that. And that was my take on the state on Flutter for design systems in 2026. But what about you? So we're gonna take a look at the next talks and in the talks in the during the break. Thank you.